Welcome back, everyone. Well, we certainly now live in a world of instant gratification. But is that such a good thing? Dr. Robert Reynolds of the Reynolds Clinic has some thoughts on that, and he's sharing a very interesting experiment with us on that topic, especially in how it relates to children. So, Dr. Reynolds, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks again for having me.
It's called the Marshmallow Experiment.
Happened about 30 years ago.
All right, so you have a little bit of video to show us about the Marshmallow Test. If we can take a look at what you have here, we can see how this works.
All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another one, so then you'll have two. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right.
He's, of course, going to eat it, right? Look at, he's so trying not to.
I'm going to go do something, and then I'll come back.
It smells yummy. It smells really good.
All right. So this is what happens. Some of these kids waited, and other people just couldn't do it, and they ate it right away. And somehow this taught us about how these kids turned out 30 years later.
Yeah, because it's interesting when you watch the video and you see these kids struggling with not eating the marshmallow because they want the second marshmallow when the experimenter comes back. But we find that when we looked at these children who are now adults, this is 30 years ago now, that there's a tremendous difference between the kids who grabbed the marshmallow and ate it right away, not waiting for the second one, and those who then were patient enough, struggling as you saw, but patient enough to wait until that experimenter came back and then got the two marshmallows. Those are the kids who 30 years later turned out to be more successful on just about every dimension you can imagine.
All right, so, and we have a slide of that I want to just show. It was 30 years later, they found they were more troubled, more stubborn, more indecisive, more divorces, less trustful, less self-confident, less successful. So
those were the one marshmallow kids. Those are the ones who took the marshmallow right away.
Right away. So it doesn't mean that just because you took the marshmallow and maybe you're a little impulsive, a lot of us are that way, it doesn't mean that you're destined for bad things, but you're encouraging that we as parents really have to work on delayed gratification, teaching that to our children.
And it's so hard because we're all so busy, and to have the patience to do that is sometimes very difficult because kids can be persistent. Mommy, I want this. Mommy, I need this. Can I have it? Can I have it? And you say, okay, already.
All right, it's so much easier. Just, all right, here, have a little, just whatever. But, you know, sometimes we were teaching them coping skills because we have another slide that shows the two marshmallow kids.
And look what's happened to them 30 years later.
Better coping skills, more self-motivated, more persistent, higher SAT scores. Now, that also higher incomes, lower body weights, lower rates of addiction, lower rates of divorce even. Interesting. So you say the key concept is that we can learn delayed gratification. How do we do that?
Yes, well, we at my clinic teach parents all the time the tools to inculcate this in their children. And we start at a very young age, even in infancy, where a child might be crying and the parent's initial inclination is to just pick the kid up right away and hug them and comfort them.
You say let the baby cry.
Sometimes let them cry for a little bit. It's not the end of the world.
Right. You don't mean necessarily hours and hours. It's not neglect, but let them cry a little bit. Let them know they're going to be okay when they're done crying.
Exactly. As they get older, you have to teach them not to interrupt because they're constantly interrupting when they want something. Come. I want to
play by themselves.
Play
by themselves.
Yeah.
So
wait for treats when treats are available.
Okay.
Older kids, teach them how to save money. Because that's delayed gratification as well. So depending upon the age of the child, there are different ways in which we can instruct them on how to delay gratification.
All right, so the saving up money for something important, that's something for older kids. That's actually telling them, let's just say you're giving your kids an allowance or they get birthday money and they're going to say, it's my money. You would say teaching them saying, I'd like you to wait for Christmas, add that money, and then you can save it for a good thing or something like that.
That's a good example. That's a good example.
What about the younger kids who just drive you bananas because they keep saying, please, 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 and you're thinking, it's not such a big deal. Let me give them.
But, Kara, it is a big deal. Over time, it is a big deal. And these are teachable moments, and we should take advantage of every one we have.
What do you recommend doing when that kid is whining?
You teach the child that when they're whining, their gratification is delayed even more.
Okay,
So there's a
the more
cost.
you whine, the less
That's
I'm going to
exactly
get.
right.
Every time you whine, you're not getting anything. And you tell them what? You have to wait an hour for this dessert?
Sometimes what I'll do is I'll have a parent set a timer for how long the child is going to whine. And when the child is finished whining, only until the child is finished whining will they get their treat.
Oh, and then they have to wait that much longer. They whined for 5 minutes, you wait for 5.
That's
Interesting.
correct.
That would teach.
That's delayed gratification.
The point is we have to learn how to teach it, maybe to ourselves too. Okay.
Well, I think, that's a good important point. We do have to set the tone. We are the ones who set the example. And if we are all about instant gratification, how do we expect our children to behave any differently?
Dr. Reynolds is hosting seminars coming up in September. You can learn a little bit about how he can help with issues like ADHD, learning differences, behavioral problems. One seminar is going to be the 21st. That's September at 6:30. If you can't make a weekday, he's also hosting one Saturday, September 24th at 9 a.m. You can register online at reynoldsclinic.com. Dr. Reynolds, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Scott?
Dr. Reynolds, if I wait through the commercial break, will you give me a second lemon bar? And will I be more successful? Summertime.